Hi everyone, Adrian Groenewald here, Me Vision Academy. These are our purpose discussions that we've launched, and I'm really excited to have a wonderful leader here today. Our purpose as Me Vision Academy is, in fact, to help individuals discover and then lead or live their purpose, and then prosper. For us, that's very important, the two P's, purpose and prosper. And today with me, Wendy Mahoney. She's the MD of New Mela Holdings and calls herself an innovation behavioral specialist. I'm excited to hear what her purpose is just now. I will ask her. But Wendy, first of all, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Wendy, why is purpose? Before we get to your purpose, I'm going to ask you what it is in a moment, and we'll spend a little bit of time on that. But why is purpose so important, would you say?
Gosh, I think it's critical personally and professionally because purpose, in my opinion, is a vehicle for energy. So an organization is a collective of humans, so that's human energy, and an individual is a human full of energy. So when you discover your purpose, either as an individual or as an organization, it enables you to more effectively channel human energy, which gives you focus, it gives you clarity, it gives you meaning. It also provides you with a mechanism to create a viable value proposition or business model around.
Hmm. Okay, it sounds to me like it's very important. I mean, energy, I've
Yes.
heard people say great leadership is energy. If you have lots of energy, you mobilize people and you achieve things that a low energy leader may not. You're saying purpose at least ignites that and other things.
Correct. I think it's critical, absolutely critical to run purpose-driven organizations in today's age.
So let me ask you this. Would you agree if I say that the moment someone truly discovers their purpose, and there's twofold to this, the moment they truly discover, they start leading. Or if I'm already in a leadership position, leading hence, and I then discover my true purpose, which obviously happens a heck of a lot, then I lead with much more impact and I will be more successful. Your comments on those two statements?
I think it's the latter statement for me resonates more true. And I guess it depends also, in terms of the former statement, how you define leadership. And I think, in the organizations that we work with, I think leadership skills are grossly lacking. I think we've promoted a lot of managers into leadership positions. We've promoted a lot of specialists into leadership positions. So I think first thing, if you ask me those two statements, I would say, hold on a second, let's reverse and let's actually have a discussion around what actually it means to lead. And then before going into what is purpose and how does purpose link into leadership? I mean, leadership is very much, it's service centric. It's service not only to your followers, but I mean also to your key stakeholders, your board, and so forth. So it's very much outside of self. It's service centric, and purpose is also very much outside of self. Your purpose normally is in service of something bigger than yourself, which makes sense then if you combine the two, that you're going to be a more effective leader because you're going to be more driven to serve and channel that energy towards others.
Okay, well said. So here's a simple question. If I'm an engineer, so I'm technically focused, I studied at varsity, I'm now an engineer, or I'm a lawyer, or whatever. And suddenly, somehow, purposefully or accidentally, I discover my true purpose. Do you think that's going to almost force me in a direction to lead, to want to lead, to
And
have to lead?
yes, I believe yes. And again, it goes back to, because everything's a social construct, right? So it goes back to how do we then define leadership? Because for me, even if you are a company of one, so if you're an engineer without any followers and you're a company of one, you're still a leader in some or other context. You
Hmm.
still influence other humans, whether you go into the shop to buy bread and milk, whether you belong to an organization, a family, you're still leading in some other capacity, which is an ability to be able to connect with humans and enable humans to move in a certain direction. So again, it goes back to defining leadership. Do I believe if somebody, an engineer or lawyer, finds out what their purpose is, especially in this age, which is more critical, I think, than any age at the moment to find your purpose? Absolutely, they're going to be a more effective leader.
Okay. I mean, if I discover my purpose and I suddenly have more energy, then I can see myself igniting more people, leading, motivating them,
Correct.
moving them, in a direction, whatever it may be. So, how did you discover your purpose, Wendy? And then we'll ask you, what is your purpose? Was it accidental? Was it that you really try hard for years?
Yeah, it's always a tough question because I'm always reflecting, go, well, do you want the short answer or do you want the long answer? So the short answer is I found my purpose in pursuit of my purpose. And I know there are some humans that I do business with who they had an easier journey to find their purpose, which is great. So I'm not saying that people have to go through the journey that I went through. I went through a very long journey to find my purpose. So, Arjun, we were chatting before we started recording about how long it's been since we connected. So we met when I was Chief Revenue Officer for Trudon, which was then majority owned by Telkom. And that must have been 2013, 2014. And I had what I call an epic early midlife crisis, probably at my 37th birthday, which was 2016, which I'm telling you my age. Oops. So it was my 37th birthday, 2016, and I got on my hands and knees and I said, fine, I'll do the work I need to do. This was after 3 burnouts. As a very young executive, I got onto an Expo at 33. I also had, pre that and after that, I also had various burnouts. And the last burnout was hospitalized with hospital with shingles. And so my lowest point was 2016. But I would say that midlife crisis probably started at the time that we met, probably 2013, 2014. I resisted it for so long, which is why I'm not a big fan of resilience unless it's coupled with adaptability. Got to my lowest point in 2016. And then I was like, well, I'll do the work, the inner work that I need to do. And when I stepped out of corporate, I completely lost my identity. And also I'd been successful. So my success had defined me, my positions had defined me. And I was like, well, if I have to do my life all over again, what would I do? What would they say, find your passion and purpose and you'll never work a day in your life. And I'm like, well, what is my passion? What is my purpose? And I just went on this journey. And as I say, I don't know whether it's comforting to your listeners or not, but it took me a long time. So from 2016, it took 2-3 years before I got to that breaking point, 2-3 years of ignoring the signs. So what I always say to somebody is when you start to feel those signs and you start to feel stuck, go get help. Go find yourself a mentor, a coach, a network, whatever it is, go get help. I didn't. I was stubborn, resilient, whatever you want to call it. So 2-3 years, I ignored it, got to my lowest point when I finally accepted, fine, I'll do the inner journey that I need to do. And then probably it took me another double that amount of time, 4 to 6 years, before I got to a point of where I knew what my purpose was, which was completely life-changing. And I can't say that I just woke up one day and a penny dropped and I was like, which some people have had that experience, which is fantastic and everyone's different. I can't say I woke up one day and said, this is my purpose. It was a journey. It was a journey of getting clearer with who I am as a person, clearer with my strengths and weaknesses, clear on the organization, what's purpose the organization serves. And you just kind of, you hone it, you get clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. And when you found your purpose, when you start to feel energy move through your being. That's why I keep saying it's a vehicle of energy. So when you start to feel energized by the work that you do, that's when you know that you're getting clearer and clearer and clearer. So that's just what happened to me is I just got clearer. And, I can tell you what my purpose is now, but, we might connect again in a couple of years' time and it might have shifted and evolved. I don't know. It might have stayed the same.
So what's fascinating is, and I find that a lot out there, is that you could get into an exco of a significant organization. You could be quite senior in many ways. You could even prosper. You could do well because of aptitude, hard work, just natural talents or your qualification that you have, or those things can drive you quite far, but it doesn't mean you've reached your purpose or discovered your purpose. So yeah, this is the real point. Tell us, what is your purpose? And then we can just spend a few minutes on that.
So I suppose there's a sentence and there's one word. The sentence is to unleash human brilliance through transformative change intelligence. So, and then the one word is freedom. It's just, we wait to be saved, and we wait as individuals and organizations to be saved by some kind of external party instead of saving ourselves. So I'm very passionate about enabling people to change. And I suppose because I was so stuck for so long, and it took me literally crashing and burning my entire life and getting to my lowest point to get unstuck and to to So I'm really passionate about helping individuals and organizations to unlock their human potential, their human brilliance, their energy, to be able to make the changes they need to make to serve whatever they are trying to serve individually or collectively.
Okay. And how different has life been since you zoomed more and more into that purpose? For you and maybe people around you, have you felt and seen the difference?
180 degree, complete 180 degree. It's completely transformative. It's my life looks completely different. Going from being, I call myself a reformed workaholic, a reformed capitalist. I was a complete work addict, which is, I believe most people are addicted to something or other to varying degrees. And I think work is a societally acceptable addiction. And I see so many people addicted to work. And for me, I don't think God created us, to live a life like that. And we're meant to be whole beings, accessing all of these different types of intelligences and living a life to our human potential. So yeah, for me, it's been a game changer. It's my life has more balance, it has more meaning. And I think, when I got to that lowest point, and I literally have a visual image because I was, on my hands and knees, and I literally was saying, fine, I'll do the work I need to do. And a lifetime of just resisting stuff and not doing the inner work. And for me, it just, all I wanted was peace. That's all I wanted, was from that point was peace. So for me, which is also a lot of the symbolism behind my logo, which is a whole nother story, and to get to a point of peace and to get to a point of freedom. So that's where I've achieved through my purpose. And that's what I'm passionate about, helping people and organizations to some degree to be able to start their journey along at least that path.
Wendy, I'm going to ask you to say your purpose again so that it can sink in, and anyone who listens, they can absorb it. And maybe that leads to someone saying, well, maybe that's what I need. Tell us again your purpose. And then I'm going to ask you to give final advice to others on how they can discover their purpose. I know you shared your journey a little bit, but a little bit of advice. First, give us your purpose again. I want it to register. I want people to know what it is. What is the purpose through which you lead? And then a little bit of advice on how to discover your purpose.
So my purpose is to unleash human brilliance through transformative change intelligence. So we do that through individual executive coaching. We do it through assessments. We do it through advisory work. We do it through training. We do it through qualitative research into an environment. So those are more the material specifics of what we do as a business, but the purpose behind those specifics are to unleash human brilliance, whether it's an individual being coached one-on-one or whether it's an entire organization, to be able to unleash that energy towards whatever they are wanting to change in their lives or in their businesses, whether they're wanting a new product or service, or whether they are wanting just to transform an area of their lives, wherever it is, and to support them with the mechanisms to know how to make that change individually or collectively. So that's the purpose. And then in terms of how somebody can start their journey, I would say it's both an inside and an outside journey. And as soon as you start to, don't be like me. I always say to people, I'm what you want to learn from not to do. Like, I'm not who you want to learn from to follow the path. Don't be like me. When you feel those signs of resistance and you start to feel stuck, I was very successful on the outside, but I was really unhappy on the inside. Until that I call it cyclic tension got so strong that I just stepped out of my entire life, and I caused such a mess of my own life. But it was because I needed to get unstuck, and I just wasn't getting myself unstuck. So it's an inner journey, and an outer journey. So by inner journey, what I mean is get to know yourself. There are so many free assessments online. Pick a couple of assessments. Start to get to know yourself. I love there's Mark Brackett's mood meter, which is just a nice little quadrant where you can see, and what activities do you do where your energy is really good? What activities do you do when your mood, when your emotions are positive versus negative? So start to reflect on what gives you energy, what doesn't give you energy, what your strengths are, your weaknesses are. I say to executives, look at time is not linear. We've created a world that operates according to linear time, which is unfortunate, but time is not linear. So, I know myself that I, as an abstract thinker, as a strategist, I do my admin in the morning, because in 10 minutes, I can do so much admin, but in the afternoon, I'm as slow as anything, so time is not linear in terms of, but once you start to get to know yourself, you're able to figure that out and stop pushing yourself, according to a world model that wasn't really created for individuals. So that's the inner journey. But then the outer journey is ask for feedback. Feedback is the quickest way to evolve, to shift. So I'm at the tail end now of my PhD on leadership and culture for the current age, for change, complexity, for innovation. I've just finished my qualitative research. I did semi-structured interviews, and now I'm busy analyzing all the data and looking at patterns and themes and drawing findings. And it's so amazing, the findings so far is that human connection is critical, empathy is critical. Being able to see the world through someone else's eyes, which is so linked to innovation, which is obviously a whole nother talk we can go into. But getting feedback from somebody else and going, an old exercise is the Johari window. And I love the Johari window. We give it to executives to do. We make executives speed date each other. We make them ask, their colleagues, what do you think are my strengths? What do you think are my areas of development? We don't ask for feedback. And we also don't have the ability, I think, to be able to have the skill to receive that feedback. There's that nonviolent communication model, which I love, which enables you to be able to deal with conflict. We need a lot of those skills to give and receive feedback. Active listening, we're terrible at active listening. But the Johari window exercise is it's a list of attributes. And all you do is you circle the attributes that you think you are, and you go and ask a couple of people that you value. And you say, okay, well, what do you think I am? Because that just gives you insights. Because we all have blind spots. We're not always clear on what our gift is. And normally our gift comes to us so easily that we don't realize it's a gift. So we actually need the feedback from somebody else to know where they think we're really good at something, and also where our areas of development are. So that's the inner and the outer. And similarly, oddly enough, I'm speaking a lot about the human individual finding their purpose, but we follow a very similar process with organizations. I always say to organizations, you don't need consultants to tell you how to fix your business. Ask your staff, they know. So a lot of what we do is we do needs analysis. We speak to humans, we create a psychological, safety for them to be able to share, and we ask them a whole bunch of questions. And from that, we gather insight. So, and again, very similar to like your Johari window exercise, reflecting on yourself, reflecting on others. The same thing with your customers. Innovation is very much, it's a product or service of value outside of yourself to a consumer. So instead of trying to sit in your boardroom and figure out how to innovate, go spend time with your customer. It's really simple. Go communicate to them, speak to them, observe their life, see where you can add value. Where do your products or services need to actually be changed, because they're detracting value beyond your awareness. So very similar individually and with an organization, internal and external reflection.
Wendy Mahoney, if you want to release your brilliance as an organization or individual, then definitely consider Wendy. She's found her purpose and passion. You can sense it in your energy, by the way. It is a different energy, I feel, than 11 years ago. And I guess life can be very, very harsh, but very kind, in leading us to our purpose. Wendy, MD of New Miller Holdings, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me, Adrian.